Hello, my name is Shireen Salome, and today I'm going to go ahead with my presentation and I'm going to go ahead and talk about the use of Gothic literature and the story of Rose for Emily. Now, the Rose for Emily was written by William Faulkner, and I decided to go ahead with to write about this because automatically you're hit with a whole bunch of Gothic elements that you're able to witness in the story while you're reading it gradually. So let's go ahead and start with the thesis. Today, my thesis is A Rose for Emily initiates the Southern Gothic tradition, a subgenre of the microbe located in the south of the United States, where the disturbing, the eccentric, the grotesque, the dissentient, the sinister find a breeding ground that smokes from poverty, crime, and now a huge theme in the story is isolation. There was two quotes that hit me, and I felt like I needed to add them here so I could talk more about them and bring more light to them. Now, the first quote is after her father's death, she went out very little. After her sweetheart went away, people hardly saw her at all. And you can just see that this is more proof that we already know that Emily already is feeling isolated. Here we have two major aspects of isolation. Her father isolated her from men, from suitors. He didn't let her go out that much. He said no. He was very possessive of her. And then she goes ahead and falls in love with a guy named Homer, who kind of does the same thing. He hides her and isolates her from the rest of the world. Now, the second quote I chose is a woman mostly out of curiosity to see the inside of her house, which no one saves the old manservant. A combed gardener and a cook has seen her in the last 10 years. I added this because of the 10 years part. It just shows that not even a gardener, not even a cook, not even a servant. Let me remind you, this was a time where they had maids, they had cooks, they had servants, not even them. For 10 years, she was isolated and no one was seen. Now, after Emily's father's passing, she slowly faded as well. She gained weight. She has gray hair now. She lost her spirit of who Emily was. She was a very preppy girl. Everyone wanted to look at her. She had many suitors. Her appearance and hiding away from the rest of the town. She's emotionally isolated from the rest of the world, but physically a slave to her community. This is automatically as a more gothic feel to the story. Another symbolism that I've noticed, or another theme, is death. Now, I chose this quote. This is right when they found Homer dead. It says, "What was left of him, rotted beneath what was left of the nightshirt, had become extrinsic from the bed in which he lay, and upon him and upon the pillow beside him lay even coating of the patient in bedding dust." Now, the reoccurrence of death in the story adds a deeper, more grotesque theme. Her father passes away, and then it's more grotesque because she denies her father's passing for 3 days. People keep coming to her house, and she denies her father's passing. The same thing here. She lays next to her poisoned boyfriend until she has to accept that she actually murdered him. This element could portray symbolic meaning that the author chose to add to carry the theme. This quote was used after the finding of Homer Baron laying on the deadbed after Emily poisoned. Now, symbolism. Many factors in the story brought light to the sense of Gothic literature. The constant reminder of Emily's gray hair, her dirty old mansion, her death, the reoccurrence of death, and the decay symbolism in the story is brought again and again in this story. Now, throughout the story, you're able to witness a change in Emily's behavior. She becomes more antisocial. She feels the pressure of her neighborhood. They constantly wonder where she has been. She's been disappeared for 10 years. She's been isolated. They were curious. At first, they want to help her, but towards the end, they kind of judge her more and more. And one thing that Emily does not like is change. And the more she's becoming isolated, the more she's fearing change because the outside world is changing while she's still in that house. Um, you're able to connect the symbolism in the character herself and see how she becomes corrupt to the point that she murders her boyfriend. And the William takes you in a journey to see how she becomes who she is to the point that she becomes a murderer, and it makes you feel and connect and feel pity for Emily. To conclude, assisting factors such as symbolism, theme, and tone all contribute to help William Faulkner write an extraordinary story. A Rose for Emily is a detailed work that brought Gothic literature to a bigger audience where we're able to understand and appreciate the time and effort behind the words we read. we're able to see the journey, to understand, and to feel for her, which I really, really, really love this story. Thank you so much.